Okay, yeah, I want to tell you something about the topic biases in the Catalog Plus of the Hamburg State and University Library. It was a praxis project 3 years ago in the Master Digital Transformation here at the HIV University. Yeah, we were a small group under the management of Professor Lewandowski, and it was a praxis project together with the Hamburg State University. And the task was to do research in the search system for biases. I will first tell you something about the background from biases in search systems. Then we come to the methodology, the results of our research, and the outlook. First 2 points about the background of the study. As I told you, it was a cooperation project, and the task was to do investigation of the library search system named Catalog Plus. That's the name of this online search system for unintentional biases in the relevance ranking. It's really important to know how we define biases in our praxis project. In the context of search results, bias refers to the differences between an ideal result set and ranking and the actual result set and ranking. If it's not like that, we can define it as a bias. That's an important research topic because, as you maybe know, biases are found in many algorithmic systems such as search engines or recommendation systems. They can be discriminatory or racist. Results can occur even without being intended during programming. Libraries are trusted as neutral institutions, so further research in this area is needed, and we tried to fill this gap with research on the Catalog Plus. To the background, there exist more or less 3 kind of search query types in search systems. First, navigational search queries. That's when you look for a concrete book title, for example. That's called navigational search query. Then you can look for further sources or databases. These kind of search queries are called transactional search query. In our research, we used informational search queries. That are keywords, wide keywords like Hamburg, sport, something like that. When you do research for a wide topic, yes. And we only use these kind of search queries. So the only biases we can find always refer to this kind of search query. That was a delimitation of our research, and the second delimitation were that we only were looking for system-based biases. Biases can also occur in the data set already. Already the data can be biased for some criterions. The system and its ranking can produce biases. That's the focus we had. And the behavior by the users can also produce biases. So we have 2 delimitations, only informational search queries, and we only looked for system-based biases. And also important is that first we did some research in the literature, what biases are already known, and we found many, but only focused on 7 of them. The gender bias is pretty common in the research already. That means that there is a correlation between the gender of the author and the ranking position. Commercial bias means the publisher size is correlated with the ranking position. Language bias means the language of the book. Topic bias, location biases, format biases. Format means electronic or printed books or articles. And time bias is also important. We have 7 hypotheses and try to answer these hypotheses with our quantitative study. we needed data to answer our questions, and so we had 100 random thematic and German language search queries, and for each search query we took 60 search results in two kinds of sets. So one set are the top search results from place 1 to 20, and the second set are 14 random search results in set number 2, which should represent the database for the search query. That's important because we want to compare the distribution of a criterion like the gender in the database to the distribution of these criterion or characteristics in the top results, places 1 to 20. So we need two data sets. We used a scraper to collect the data, and the scraper gave us 6,000 results back, nearly. After that, we had to code some data, like the gender of the author, the classifications, for example. Some manual coding was needed. And after that, we cleaned the data, and that was our data. And now we come to the results of our study. Thus, the frequency of the criterion in the top search results 1 to 20 differs significantly from the distribution in the database for the search query. And because the data for our first 6 hypotheses had a nominal what's it called? Nominal data level, we do a G-quadrat test, and for the seventh hypothesis, we had metric data level, so we have to do a t-test for independent samples to know whether their correlation is significant or not. And now I give you an example of our how we answered our hypothesis. The hypothesis is that there is a correlation between the gender of the author and the ranking position, and as you can see, we found a significant difference between the gender and the ranking. So we know that there is a bias, and that's it's because the difference in the expected and the observed values show that female authors are overrepresented in the top ranking positions 1 to 20 compared to the male authors. The way was to have a look how the distribution in the data set is of the characterizations female and male authors. And then we use the distribution to calculate the optimal distribution in the top results, and the difference show us whether there is a bias or not. And the t-test said whether it's significant or not. And in this case, we found a bias with the results that, it's kind of surprising that female authors are overrepresented in the top results, because in the data set, the distribution is lower for this gender. Yeah, that's the way how we checked our hypothesis as you can see, the most investigated biases are biased: gender, language, basic classification, location, media type, and year of publication are all biased. Only publisher bias was no bias, so there was no correlation between the size of the publisher and the ranking position. Here are the results again. The study showed that in the top search results 1 to 20, female authors are overrepresented. We did not find a bias with regard to publisher size. German language literature is underrepresented. Basic classifications are biased, but without favoring certain topics. online sites receive more visibility than printed books or articles. Online sites receive more visibility than books that only are in locations like in Grindel or here somewhere else in Hamburg. So online sites. Books are underrepresented and current literature is overrepresented compared to older literature. So the task was only to find, is there a bias or is there not a bias? It's important to discuss which of the biases found are desired or undesired, because with our praxis partner, the Hamburg State University, they told us that the biases from the publication date, the media type and the location are desired, because these parameters are boosted in the algorithm. But the biases gender, basic classification and language are not desired, are undesired. So they want to try to improve maybe the algorithm that these biases don't exist anymore in the future. And what also is important, that you have to ask how come the undesired biases come about, because it's possible that biases like the gender bias are caused by the time bias, because the time is a boosted parameter in the algorithm, and it's possible that female authors publish more in the current years than male authors. So the reason why we have a gender bias is a time bias. Yeah, that are important questions where further research is needed. Now we come to the limitations and the further research of our study. We had only a sample size of 6,000 results. That's not really big. You can do the research with a bigger sample. We only did the research in German. You can repeat the research in English, for example, or in other languages in general. We only look for biases in informational search queries and system-related biases. It's possible that we did mistakes when we manual coded some of our variables like the gender or basic classifications. We cannot rule out technical errors in the scraper. And we only looked for the 7 biases we found in the literature. It's possible that there exist more biases we did not research about. Yeah, that's all. Thank you for your attention.